Today, we are going to get into a completely new, deeper, more powerful part of the click and learn system. Last night or yesterday, as you may remember, I did a live stream where I relearned the names and locations of the 33 counties of New Mexico. But that is a cramming method, and I can score 100% on a test the next day, but do I really know the information? So the way I usually do when I'm learning something new is I will take the list of counties or countries or whatever the information is. I'll take that list to bed with me and I will try to recite, in this case, the names of the 33 counties quickly in 33 seconds. So as I went to sleep last night, and when I woke up in the middle of the night, I would get my phone and I would say, give me a list of the 33, alphabetical list of the 33 counties of New Mexico. And I would look at that list and I would find places where I had stumbled as I was trying to recite. And I would work on that, work on that, work on that. How do I, what comes next? What comes next? And I woke up this morning doing the same thing. I woke up thinking about that. So let me show you what see if I can do what I'm talking about. Uh, I want to recite all 33 counties in 33 seconds. Bernardino, Catron, Chavez, Cibola, Colfax, Curry, DeBaca, Donna Ana, Eddie, Grant, Guadalupe, Harding, Hidalgo, Leah, Lincoln, Los Alamos, Luna, McKinley, Mora, Otero, Quay, Rio, Reba, Roosevelt, Sandoval, San Juan, San Miguel, Santa Fe, Sierra, Socorro, Taos, Torrance, Union, and Valencia. And that took, whoa, exactly 33 seconds. Now I'm very excited that I did that because, but so I stumbled as I was doing that this morning, and I got in and I said, "Show me that list," and I went through that list, and I realized that Hidalgo is not Hidalgo, it's Hidalgo, and that still might not be correct. But the first one was not Bernadilla, it was Bernalia, or something closer to Bernalia than Bernadilla. Now, as I go to New Mexico, Santa Fe, Thursday night, I'm going to be staying at an Airbnb. Actually, it's a, what do they call it? Like a hostel where a lot of people stay and they just interact. And I think there's international people will stay there. You can't stay there if you live in that state. You have to be from out of New Mexico to stay there. So that makes it more interesting. You have people from different places who you can chat with and learn about. So, and I thought, I can get better pronunciation about these when I visit with the hosts of that uh, hostel. Hostel, not hostile, hostile. And so then I thought, first of all, I'm mispronouncing some of these names, but in addition, there's something about Los Alamos County that I've forgotten, and I did some research, and I found out it is one of the biggest things. One of the things about, not the biggest things, of course, but one of the things about Los Alamos County, it is the smallest county in New Mexico. And then I thought, let's find something interesting about every county of New Mexico, because when we talk to people from around the world and we say where you're from, and they say I'm from Hungary, it's nice to be able to say, I know where Hungary is located. It's right below Slovakia. And they think, wow, that's pretty cool. You know something about where my parents were born, where my grandparents are buried. And that makes them feel good, and it makes me feel good, and it makes you feel good as well to be able to do that. And then you can have a conversation. But when you know a little bit more, just a tiny little bit more, uh, anyway, cut to the chase. I'm going to, first of all, review in review mode, playing the New Mexico game. I'm going to get in a test mode and get 100% on that, playing the New Mexico game. But then I'm going to show you how to create a new game. Everybody is an expert at something. Whether you you collect, can recognize butterflies, or whether you know with the origin of dinosaur names, or whether you know the history of Amelia Earhart, or who's a guy from Oklahoma, Will Rogers, or maybe you are just the best at teaching kindergartner students how to be nice to each other. And so everybody's an expert at something. And with our system, you can make a game to share your expertise with somebody else. Now, I am not an expert at knowing something cool or interesting about each of the 33 counties, but I did do the research, and I'm going to create a game that I can play to teach me how to say something nice, or how to continue that conversation a little bit further. Oh, what was it about Bernalillo County that I remember? I remember something, and then you have a deeper conversation, and it's not just, in my case, when I'm at the Buffalo Wild Wings and I'm talking about some basketball team or some city, and I'm talking to the guy next to me, and he's from Guatemala. Well, it's pretty cool to be able to say, oh yeah, Guatemala, right next to, just west of Honduras, above Nicaragua. That impresses them, but there's more. And then I run out of things to talk about. I can say, oh, tell me something about the terrain or the culture of the lakes, or the nature, and that gets into an interesting conversation. But here we go. Here we go. I go down these tangents so often, and I have someone has a comment in. Okay, I'm in the car dealership being a tune-up. Okay, okay, okay. So I got a nice note from just a minute ago from one of the guys on the Click and Learn team, and we are all working together. We are all working together at this. Our programmer is trying to make this system easier and easier and easier for everybody to use. And our guidance, our advisor, Mark, he's a college professor, and he guides us on what helps students learn. How can we make that part of it better? And Matt is our video editor, and he makes videos to help me and teaches me how to make these live streams more productive. And I've already been told, don't just sit here and talk. Okay. And all I'm doing is sitting here talking. So what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to bring you right into, we're going to review the counties of New Mexico. I'm going to show you how to get to that. First of all, I'm a registered user, so I have my own playground. All of this that you see on the screen is our playground. And each of these is either a game or a folder or a topic that holds more games. So I'm going to work on New Mexico. So I go to the thumbnail that says Game Library. I click that thumbnail and it's going to bring me up a list of topics. Now, one of those topics is pick your state, and we're going to get into New Mexico. So I click that thumbnail and it brings me to the folders that contain the games for New Mexico. I scroll across till I get to New Mexico. Well, I passed it. Now I know what New Mexico flag looks like. There we go. I click that thumbnail, and now I have a set of games. I'm going to show you in a minute how to create a new game. But first, we're going to review. I click the thumbnail for New Mexico color game. I'm going to switch to review mode and click multiplayer. If you are, and I'm going to get in the, let's get into blue team. I've already got the volume turned off because I want to focus and concentrate and tell you that I really do know these counties. And also, let's see what I got here. Okay, just spam. And I also want to be telling you that as I fly through this, I want to tell you that if you're a teacher and you have 20, 24 students, they can all get in and play these games together, compete with each other, be on different teams. And each group of up to 6 people can be on a team. And when they're on a team, you might be in this little race car going through this town. Or every 15 minutes on the hour, 15, 30, 45 after, you get a new race. And you start over with a different scenery. And we've got 17 seconds, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. 12 seconds till we get the new scenery. And at that point, I think they tell us we can pick a new team. We can change teams. We can balance out the teams. Just like football does. You do these trades so that more teams are balanced and so forth. I'm going to let's go to the yellow team. Okay. We got 15 minutes and when I click a correct button, I get a new smart. And I'm in the whale. I'm in the whale team, swimming through the ocean. And when I click a correct button, I get a new smart, and my team or my whale or my race car goes ahead by a little bit farther. Click the go button. We are in review mode. All of these are on the screen. We have 49 seconds to get through all of these. Let's see if I can beat the clock by 9 seconds. Let's see if I can do these 33 counties in 40 seconds. And you can watch my progress at the top left. Okay. I've got to focus here. Bernalillo, Catron, Chavez, Cibola, Koufax, Curry, De Baca, Donna Anna, Eddie, G, Grant, Guadalupe, H, Harding, Hidalgo, L, Leah, Lincoln, Los Alamos, Luna, McKinley, Mora, Otero, Quay, and then I go QR. What did I do? I hit Roosevelt instead. Quay, Rio Arriba, Roosevelt, Sandoval, San Juan, I gotta look at the Quay, Miguel, Santa Fe, Sierra, Socorro, Taos, Torrance, Union, Valencia. I did not beat it by 9 seconds, but I did beat it by, it looks like 4 seconds, okay? So I get the bonus for going through that. I click the exit button, and I can see that it's locked up. It could be, it could be my, am I still in here? Yes, and I just lost connection. Could be my Wi-Fi connection. And I'm gonna, okay, that's all it is. It brings up the same place where we were and where we left off. So I'm gonna get into New Mexico. I played it in review mode. Now I'm gonna switch to test mode. multiplayer. And what did I switch to the
Let's
yellow
learn
to?
New Mexico counties.
Okay, and I'm going to click the turn off the volume, click go. We're in test mode, so I'm going to try and get 100% as part of the review. As you saw, it only took, 40 seconds to review the, 45 seconds to review the counties in alphabetical order. Let's see how long it takes to score 100% or get the highest score I can. It asks for Quay. You can look at the question at the top and you can see, is this guy going to really click the correct button? If I click the correct button, it's going to be green. If you're from New Mexico and the question is Socorro, you can say to yourself, you can look at the map and you can say, this guy should click this red one, and you can watch and see if I do. Bernalillo, rather. Catron, Grant, this would be Grant. Donna Anna, it would be Mora. Hidalgo, bottom left. Almost the same way that Hidalgo is in Texas. That county is very, very at the bottom, just above Cameron. Okay, Los Alamos. Okay, green. Cibola, Luna, Sierra. You can look at the question, how many questions I've answered. You can look at the top left and see that I've answered 14 so far. Torrance. And you can watch and see if I get green lights on all these. Valencia, green lights. San Miguel, Santa Fe, Sandoval, Eddie, Lincoln. I think there's a city in Lincoln where we stayed at a bed and breakfast. A friend of mine and I were bicycling across the United States. I think Lincoln was a city where we stayed at a bed and breakfast. Really, really nice place. The lady, the husband and wife, and the woman had won awards in New Mexico for her, either her bed and breakfast or the breakfast offerings. And when I drive through there again, I quite often stop at that place. And as I pull into their driveway, they got a big backyard right next to the woods. And I quite often see a group of deer in their backyard. That was, never forget that experience, that night, that evening, having dinner with them. And it was the day before Easter. And the next morning they said, would you like to go to Mass with us? Easter Sunday. What a good memory. Anyway, I get so, that is the beauty. That's the beauty of geography. Knowing Otero, Taos, Colfax, right next to Taos, Curry, San Juan. Sometimes I get ahead of myself, Rio Arriba. Sometimes I click the wrong button. And sometimes they just get it wrong. McKinley. Chavez. I mentioned 31. I think they've all been green. Harding. And Roosevelt. Roosevelt on the right side of New Mexico. And I got 100%. I look at it, I see all these are green, so I can click the exit button to close, rather to close this game. And it shows me that I can replay. I scored 100%. I can present, and at the bottom it says Bob completed New Mexico counties. That's another thing as a teacher or head of a geography club. You can watch as your students or your friends or your family as they master each level. Every time you master a level, a little message comes across. Oh, and here's the other thing. You can click this little thing down the bottom left-hand corner, and you can say something nice. You can say hello from Arizona. You can say, how is everyone? And you can say, uh, uh, great, great, great race, great race. And we'll scroll back to the top and put some applause. Clap, 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 clap. I want to send that message. And that message that I have sent goes to everybody in the group. It says, Bob says, hi from Arizona. How is everyone? Great race. Clap, clap, clap. Okay. That's pretty cool. But now I'm going to show you something completely new. One of the amazing powers of Click and Learn is you can create your own game on any topic. And I did that research and I said, show me something. I said, I want to find something nice about each county. So that when I meet somebody and they say they are from Valencia County, I can say, oh, is that the county that has whatever, whatever? Okay, so in my research, I found this list. And I had the list sorted. I sorted the list by alphabetically by the interesting name. So there's something called a Lincoln County War in the county of Lincoln. There's something called Carlsbad Caverns that happens to be in Eddy County. So that's my list. I'm going to capture that. I have that in a notepad file separated by a tab. And if you're into computer programming, you know what tab separated variables are, and you know what comma separated variables are. That's the format we use to put these questions into Click Learn. I'm going to capture that information with a Control C, and minimize that. Now I'm going to get into, I'll tell you something else I'm going to do first. I'm going to create a thumbnail for this game. And I use Paintbrush from Windows Paint, but you can use whatever you want. I'm going to make the dimensions 299 by 168. I don't know if you can see that or not. You probably can't. Let me see what comes up on StreamYard. Okay. That's not showing you. So I'm going to share something different. I'm going to share a different screen. I'm going to, well, maybe that will come up. If I go to, no, I don't think it'll show up. I need to show, I'm still learning. I need to present or invite. I'm going to, well, first of all, I got to share that, stop that screen. Then I got to share a different screen. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up that paint. I'm going to bring up that notepad list. And when I say I'm going to share, can I share the entire screen? Okay, let's share the entire screen. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to add that to the stage. And I'm going to go to that. Does that show up? Minimize this a little bit and see what I'm showing on StreamYard. No, I don't think that's showing. I'll tell you what. Okay. I'm just going to get into this. I'm going to work my way through this. And I'm going to actually get back to where I'm streaming Click and Learn. I'm going to learn a lot from this today. So I'm going to share the screen. How do I share everything? Do I share different windows? There we go. That's a window. Okay. Do you see that? What are you seeing? What are you seeing? You're seeing, okay, add that to the stage. Okay, so you're now seeing the list of counties, and I have no need for me to have all that in the way. So now here's the list of counties. I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to select all those and do a Control C to capture that, minimize that. And then I get to where I go to where's the next thing? I'm going to go to paintbrush, and let's see if you are seeing paintbrush. You're not. Okay. Okay, here's what we do. I remove that, and then I add, and then I, bear with me, stop that screen, and I present a next screen, and that's going to be Windows, and it's going to be Paint. Okay, very good. Let's see if this works. And I'm going to add that to the stage, and you'll be able to see me using Paint to create my thumbnail. I'm going to use Paint to create my thumbnail. I get in here and I make the dimension properties 299 by 168. That's the size of our thumbnails for all these games. And I'm going to make the background, let's make the background black and paint into that. And let's make the text yellow, and I get into that, and I'm going to say something nice. I'm going to make the font a lot smaller than that. Make the font 14. That's still too small. Say something nice about New Mexico. And I can make all of that bigger. I want to fill the screen, make it as big as we can. So let's make this, see what happens if I make it 20. 20s, not bad. Say something nice about New Mexico. Okay, that might be my thumbnail. And I get that in here. And I click out of there. Now, I can move that around, center it. Okay. And I can paint that, that. I'm going to make a box around that. It's going to be yellow. So I'm going to click there. I click on this, make a box. Let's make a box like that. Okay, and then for a little coloring effect, let's paint the whole outside of that red. Paint red. There we go. So that's my thumbnail file. Save as. Let's get into, I'm going to call it Review New Mexico Deeper Thumbnail. Okay, that's it. So now I have my thumbnail created. I'm going to close that file. Exit. And did that really exit? I don't think it exited. Did that really exit? Okay, there we go. It did. It just took a while. Now let's close this banner. And I'm going to hide that. And now we're going to get back into Click and Learn, and we're going to create a new game about nice things about New Mexico. So I can get into, go back to here. I bring up the click and learn game, and I now go down to New Mexico, the New Mexico list of games. I'm going to click this pencil, and that brings me to the area where I can create a new game. Let's see if you can see that. That window's not showing. Okay, maybe it is. Okay, there we go. There we go. So that's where we were. And now that that's going to show, I'm going to click done. And I'm going to show you how I got into that. I click this pencil. I want to put a new game in the list of New Mexico games. I click the pencil. I click create a new game. And I have a whole lot of games, a whole lot of things I can create. I can create a game. I can create a new channel. I can create a quiz. I can create a private channel, multiple choice games and so forth. I'm going to create a new game and drag that over to, let's put it in the second position. Now let's put it just before county seats. And this game is going to be called, I'm going to call it, say something nice about New Mexico. That might be too long of a title. But the full name is going to be there's our title. And watch what happens up here. When I click save, it's going to change that title. So I say save. Now instead of new game, it's going to say something nice about. Okay. And now I'm going to do a little bit more with that game. I click the pencil and I want to browse my hard drive for a thumbnail. I go to and I select the thumbnail. I click open. Now watch what happens. This is so cool. I click save. And as you can see, I now have that. Now I'm done. I click the done button because I have now set up the area where I'm going to create that game. I've got the foundation. I've got like the foundation of a house built. Now I need to get in and create the game. So I click that thumbnail, and because I'm the owner of this playground and the owner of this game, I can edit. So I click the edit button. The system is set up to preload 10 questions. I'm going to go to questions. I'm going to click and shift click and remove those 10. Yes, because I'm going to import. Click import. Click inside that box. Do a Control V as in Victor. Control V to paste. Now I click import. Okay. And now I need to work about that. If I just did that, all you would have is, I click done, I'll show you what that has. That's all it is, okay? I've got, looks like 33, nicely balanced, probably 11 per column. But I'm going to get into questions and I'm going to find a background picture. And I'm just going to browse. I'm going to say, show me a cancel. Click here in the middle. Show me something that's empty, or let's say blue. See if I find something with blue. Okay, plain. Okay, there we go. That's sorted, but I'm going to find empty. We have different. Okay, blank. Well, I was trying to load it and I messed it up. Let's say empty again. I'll give it a chance to load those and see if there are any that match that. Enter. No, blank. Maybe it was blank. Is that where? How about okay, okay. This is embarrassing. I can't find what I'm looking for. If I search for 50 states, it would show me all the backgrounds I can use. If I search for, oh, there's even more and more and more. You could use all those backgrounds. Very nice. Very nice. But I'm going to select, I'm really looking for a blank area with just a blue background. Maybe it's a plain background. Maybe there's even more. Okay. We're going to go without, I'm going to cancel. We're going to go without a background. We're just going to use the default. So now, the settings, I want to have on the top, I want to show the question. And the buttons, I want to show the answer, okay? And the button color is going to be a red square, okay? And what other options do we have? Let's try that and see what that looks like. I click done. And okay, there's the answers. But I want the answers to be in alphabetical order so we can easily find those. So I'm going to say sort the answers alphanumerically. I click that and now you can see instantly those, and the county names are sorted alphabetically. So when a question asks something and the answer is Taos, you don't have to look through all the columns to find where is Taos. You know it's going to be alphabetical. So now I'm going to click save. And let's see if I have enough information to play that game. I click that game. Let's go into learn mode. All right. All right. This is pretty cool. The question is, where is the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta? That's a yearly event. Is that in? I think it's towards the center. And so that might be Bernalillo County. It is. Aztec Ruins National Monument. Where would that be? Would that be in Union County? No, that's where the volcano is located, a Capulan volcano. Let's see if the Aztec Ruins Monument are in Devaca. No, that's where Billy the Kid's grave is. That's pretty cool. Is it in Curry County? No. I'm going to use the show me button. Aztec ruins are in San Juan County, top left. Billy the Kid's grave is in, did I say it was in Curry? No. Debaca? Yes. Okay. Blackwater Draw Archaeologist Site. I would guess. Okay, that's in Roosevelt Cannon Air Force Base. No, that's Capulan Volcano. Cannon Air Force Base must be in Welder. That was cool. I know the Carlsbad Caverns are in Eddy County. Okay, Curry. Capulan Volcanoes Union. Carlsbad Caverns are in Eddy County. 46 seconds over. Albuquerque Balloon Festival. Bernalillo. Aztec Ruins. San Juan. Billy the Kid's grave. Devaca. Blackwater Ecology. Where was that? Where was that? Was that in Roosevelt County? It was. Cannon Air Force Base. Was that? I know it's not an Eddy. Okay. Capital of Volcano Union and Carlsbad Caverns are in Eddy County, 14 seconds over. Albuquerque, Bernalillo, Aztec Ruins, San Juan, Billy the Kid's Grave, De Baca, Blackwater Archaeology, Roosevelt, Cannon Air Force Base, you know, that would be Curry, Captain Volcano Union, and Eddy. I had a spam call. Drives me crazy. Click go. Albuquerque Balloon Festival, Bernalillo, Mystic Ruins, San Juan, Billy the Kid's Grave, De Baca, Blackwater Archaeology, Roosevelt, Cannon Air Force Base, Curry, Capital and Volcano Union, and Eddy is where the Carlsbad Caverns are. 6 seconds over. You know how this game works. You know how the system works. You play over and over until you can beat the clock. Then you go to 14 questions and so forth. This is a game that if you think that it's important for your students or your friends to learn, let's say where the state parks are in New Mexico, you can make a game about the state parks, and I should really do that. I'll do that later today. I'm going to find the list of state parks. I'm going to find where they're located. I'm going to make a game so that I can invite my friends, relatives. I can invite the members of my Click and Learn Geography Club in my high school or middle school or elementary school. I can make a geography club, which is a process. You go through talking with the principal and finding out what's required and all the things you need to set up a club, whether it's a drama club or astronomy club, or in this case, a geography club. And you set up the game, you create your own channel. Must be, okay, we're getting down to 15 minutes there again. I'll go back into the yellow team. And create your own channel, enroll your club members. It's less than $20 a user. And you can create games and you guys can learn about the world. But more important than that, you can have fun together, teaching each other, working with each other, helping each other out. You know, the goal of life in first grade, second grade, 12th grade, college is not to be the best at something so that everybody else is below you. The real goal is I succeed, I learn, I help others. And that's what you can do with this system. Okay. That was pretty cool. I just showed you how to create your own game. I want to master this first level. Okay. I click the go button. Albuquerque Balloon Festivals of Bernalillo County. Aztec Ruins is in San Juan, upper left. Billy the Kid's Grave, De Baca. Blackwater Archaeology is in Roosevelt. Cannon Air Force Base in Curry County. Capital, there's a volcano in Union County. Results of a volcano. And Carlsbad Caverns in Eddy, 9 seconds. Albuquerque. Aztec Ruins. Billy the Kid. Blackwater Archaeology. Cannon Air Force Base. Capital Volcano. And Carlsbad Cavern, 2 seconds over. Bernalillo. I look at the question. Aztec, San Juan, Billy the Kid, De Baca, Blackwater, Roosevelt, Cannon Air Force, Curry, something, Volcano Union, Carlsbad Caverns, Eddy, 3 seconds over. Bernalillo. I look at the question. San Juan. Look at the question. Click. Blackwater. Question. Click. Cannon. Curry. Volcano Union. Carlsbad, Eddy. Okay. Bernalillo, San Juan, Billy the Kid, Blackwater, Cannon, Volcano, Eddy, beat the clock, okay? And the message at the bottom says, Bob cleared level 1 of the game says, say something nice about each county of New Mexico. I learned something, but one of the ways I was able to learn that is because I have a foundation of where each county is located, or each country, or each state. So that, to me, let me see if you guys all saw that. Yeah. To me, that is the beauty of Click and Learn Team. And I should have shown you this. You can create your own game on any topic. We just created a game. I can create flashcard games. I can take pictures of butterflies. Or I can take pictures of dog breeds. I can take pictures of dinosaurs or Pokemon pictures. I can make questions about people that are important to me in my life. I can make a game about my best friends. What was your favorite toy? What was your first word? Who was your favorite teacher in first grade? Questions. What is one of your biggest, who's your best friend in high school? Things like that. You can make a game about anything. Very personal games or educational games like pictures of the, or you can have a picture and say, what constellation is this? Why is it called the Dog Star? See in comments, I got to go back to comments here. And exactly. And one of the guys on the team says, Bob is making his own game. This is something that all of you can do. This is the power of this system. You're an expert at something. You are an expert at something. You can get your own playground, inexpensive, $20 a student per year. And for that $20, your students get access to 2,000 games. You can create your own games at your playground. You can make games for your students and share your expertise. You're an expert at something. First of all, thank you. That was Matt dropping in, and they said we're making our own games. So many things I'm so excited to show you. I hope that this gives you some inspiration. I hope you think, what do I want to teach my friends? What do I want to learn? I tell you what, as you saw in Matt's trailer video, at the very end it said, what do you want to learn today? What do you want to learn today? I'll give you some examples. I was visiting my nephew in Independence, Missouri, probably 20 years ago, I don't know, when we were first creating these games. So I said to him, I said, Jason, what are you working on at school? He was a junior. He said, well, I got to learn 35 elements of the periodic chart. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we need to know those little symbols, like tin might be SB and lead might be PB and so forth. He said, that's what I got to learn by Monday. So it took me about maybe 20 minutes to create a game for him, a custom game. He wanted to learn the symbols of those 35 elements that his teacher wanted to learn. And so I created a game. A few days later, I texted my sister, his mother, and I said, how'd he do? And she said, he played your game 4 times. He got a 98% on that test. He got a 98%. His only error was he misspelled beryllium. And he had to write in the name of what does this symbol mean. But he got 98% after playing. So my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, I said to him, I said, so what are you working on? And Matt says, crazy how even counties of state can have rivalries. Respect can go a long way. That's exactly right. Respect. And I think that's what most anger happens from someone. You feel disrespected. You think someone's cutting you off on the highway. Well, maybe, just maybe, there was a turtle in the road, or maybe there was a top coat with parts of a tire. Maybe he was getting over to avoid that. Maybe he wasn't being disrespectful, because respect can go a long way. And when we learn to not judge everybody just by what we initially think, if I'm at a stoplight and a car in front of me is sitting there and the light turns green and I see it turning green, do I honk? Remind this guy, the light is green, the light is green? Or I'd have a little patience, and then I realize there's some old person trying to get across the road in front of this guy, and he decided, I'm not going to run this guy over, I'm going to wait. But here, me in the back behind him, am I being impatient? Am I judging? And when I honk, then he gets mad, I get mad, and we end up on YouTube showing videos where we got in a fight and kicked each other out. I don't know. We don't need to do that stuff. We can respect each other. And by learning about the world, what was I going to show you? Yes. So my brother-in-law was going to try and get a job at an airline. And he got accepted to go to their training session. It was going to be in Milwaukee. It was going to last 2 weeks. They're going to teach them how to be a flight attendant. What do you call it? Someone that takes tickets, sells tickets at the airport. Whatever that's called, that's what he wanted to be. He had a personal reason for wanting to do that. His son had just gone to college, and he wanted to be able to visit his son, and he knew that this particular airline could get him to that city inexpensively if he worked for the company. So he wanted to get a job for that company. That was his personal goal. So I said, what do you need to learn? He showed me, he said, I have to learn what all these codes of these airports are. Some are easy. Seattle, Tacoma, SeaTac, the code is SEA. But many are not that easy. Chicago, O'Hare Field the code is ORD. And when someone comes up to your counter and say, I need a ticket to Chicago, well, first you say you're going to Midway Airport or you're going to O'Hare. And they say O'Hare, and you write in, well, it depends on your airline. But you got to make sure you put in the right code, because when you give them a ticket and you tell them what gate to go to, if you typed in the wrong code, they're going to be pretty unhappy that they ended up in Rochester, New York, instead of Rochester, Minneapolis, or Rochester, Minnesota. I think that's it. And I've actually seen that happen. One of my coworkers ended up in the wrong city because a ticket agent gave him. But anyway, my point is, my brother-in-law wanted to learn those codes. So I created a game, and he called me up. Maybe it was a month later. He said, I just had our first day of training. He said, thank you. He said, if I didn't know that, I would have got kicked out. If I did not be able to pass that test, my entrance test, he said, I watched 4 people get called up to the front. They took them outside, handed them a ticket, said, go back home. They were that serious about it. You can't learn that, go back home. That was another personal reason for this. One more example. I got invited to a homecoming at my fraternity. I hadn't been there in 15 years. I did not know any of these guys. I'm pretty much a wallflower. I can shake hands with somebody and say what they tell me their name, and 5 seconds later, I forget their name. I have no idea who this guy is. So what I did was before I went to homecoming, I went to their website, downloaded pictures of every one of the guys in the fraternity. There were about 75 or 80. Just like Mark Zuckerberg did when he created that initial game that he started, what's it called, Facebook with. That game he created where you look at the pictures of the women on campus and you swipe left or right. Kind of like that, but in a positive way. I wanted to learn these guys' names, so I downloaded their pictures and made a flashcard about each one. And I made a game, actually 3 games, to help me learn the names and faces of these guys. So when I walked into that fraternity for homecoming, I walked up to the welcome desk right at the front door like it always was, 15 years ago. And I knew these guys by face. I went up to one guy at the table. I said, Danny Ritter, I'm Bob Reynolds from Joplin, Missouri. Where are you from? He told me he's from St. Genevieve. And the guy next to him, I said, Vern Sponhurst, Bob Reynolds from my major, I was mechanical engineering. What's your major? He said, it was the same. We have a conversation. Within 5 minutes, the word spread through the entire fraternity house that there's this old man here. What was I? I was probably 35 years old. But there's this old man here that knows who we all are. And I had a conversation with all of those guys. Where are you from? How do you like the teacher? Do you have this teacher? What building do you class in? I had one of the best times of my life. I was probably there till 1 a.m. at that party. And as I headed back home later that night, just a beautiful feeling as I drove down the quiet, dark streets, dark highways going home. Anyway, that is a story about when we say our tagline is, what do you want to learn today? That's what you can do, okay? And you can learn anything. You can make your own games. I'm going to exit from this, and I'm going to tell you, thanks for watching. And I'm going to actually want to do this. How do I do this? And I'm going to say, there we go. These guys, I tell you what, Matt and Mark have a lot of work to do to get me to where I know what I'm doing here. But I'm excited about it because I believe it's important. This is the Click and Learn mission. This is our mission. Help people learn about the world so we can show respect for people we meet. And maybe we'll go towards having a little bit of world peace. We don't have to find something negative about every country, just like we did with New Mexico. Find something nice to say about every country. So that's it. Thank you for watching. And now back to our movie trailer, which I want you to watch this trailer because this is something that the guys created themselves. Okay, take care. Talk to you later. Thanks.